Good evening. Hello. Yes, you're not tripping. No, you're not. You're not out of your mind. Yep, I am live. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Sit on down, sit on down. Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. So good to see you all on this Thursday evening. Yes, I'm doing a Thursday evening because Sabby and JB show it will not be airing tonight because Sabby has a long weekend ahead and she has to get rid of that, get ready for that, and so yeah, she'll be preparing for that. So I decided to do my reading live tonight. So welcome to everybody that's here. The JB Font Show is available on all major podcast platforms like Anchor, Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, so you can subscribe to me there. I'm also part of the Revolutionary Blackout Network, so you can find me on the JB Show on Sundays at 1, on RBN Live on Tuesdays at 4, and the Savvy and JB Show typically on Thursdays at 6. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and also I'd like to give a shout out and a thank you to all the patrons on Patreon and Coffee. For without you guys, I would not be able to operate this channel as regularly as I do. So thank you to everybody, all of you, every single one of y'all. And a special thanks to the newest patron on Patreon, YepX. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I have to get that list updated. So that's going to be fun. So thank you so very much as well for being a new patron on Patreon. Well. As per usual, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to say hello to people in the chat, but then I'm going to get to the reading. So this is going to be a reading. And typically what I like to do is whenever I have a book, one or two live readings I like to do. I did it with Michael Parenti's book. I did it with Blood in My Eye. I'm going to be also doing it with Assata Shakur's book, right? So I don't think I actually did a live reading for Assata Shakur yet. Have I? If I did, now this will be the second one. I try to do one or two, but I'll be doing a reading for Assata Shakur's book this evening. And then I also would like to get your thoughts on some of the things that were written in the book as well, because, I like to have this as an interactive thing, right? So thank you so very much for everybody who coming in. I know more people are pouring in. And plus, this wasn't really planned. You guys didn't have that big of a notice. I sent out the, I sent out the Substack notification 45 minutes before. So I'm not expecting to be a huge turnout, but as long as this gets out here, plus I've been wanting to do this Assata Shakur reading and make sure I get this out to you guys beforehand as well. Also, if you guys are wanting to get the notifications as well, then subscribe to my Substack, jaybefaunt.substack.com, and you guys can get the notifications to whenever I go live or upload clips so that you guys can rely on me instead of the notifications from this site because it is not that reliable. Now, to the people, it's always about the people, baby. Welcome. Sean Miller says, "Your solidarity." Good to see you. The Jam Mom says, "You're as well." Oh, man. So good to see you guys in the chat. You got Hugo saying, Hey, Hugo. Good to see you. We also have Extra Booyah. Uncle Warren's in the chat saying JB is this generation's LeVar Burton. Butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. I can be any place. No. I'm gonna. You guys are gonna start bleeding out of your ears from my voice. No. I'm not gonna do that to y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jeez. By the way, I don't have tea and I don't have wine. I have water. Though I crushed the ice though. So I love crushed ice, don't you? Crushed ice. Mm. Crushed ice. Nature's crunch. Um, so yeah, I have that. Owabako says, "Hey, what's that? Everybody's going A tonight." It's hilarious. All right. Pachico Run says, hey, JB. Pachico Rose also a JB member. So good to see you in the chat. All right. By the way, I'm excited for dinner. I can't wait. I'm gonna have me some dinner right after this, and then I'm gonna relax. I think Sabby's gonna be on at 8. Yeah, she's gonna be on at 8, so I may end up catching Sabby. But I don't know if I eat enough dinner, I may end up getting that itis. You know what I'm saying? Going, you know what I'm saying? I may end up going that way. So if I don't catch her, Savvy, sorry, I fell asleep. But yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to do is we're going to go over Assata Shakur, Chapter 6, Part 1. I divided it into 2 parts because I don't want these streams to be too long so that number one, I don't have to clip it. But number 2, if it's indigestible sizes, then it could be, oh man, it's 30 to 45 minutes. I got time to listen to that. You know what I mean? So it's not overwhelming. Like, oh my God, JB's reading for 3 hours. Number one, it's tiring on me because, I don't want to be tired. But at the same time, it's also good for you so that you can just listen, you know what I mean? It's not too much on y'all. So then you can chop it up into parts. Let me see. Yeah. Crushed ice is wonderful. Yeah. I used to eat ice all the time. I don't as much anymore, but I think part of it's because being a dialysis patient, you also get anemia because your kidneys actually measure and regulate the amount of red blood cells. They actually secrete the hormone that actually causes your bone marrow to produce red blood cells. And so if your kidneys aren't working, guess what? You ain't producing red blood cells like you need to, which means you get anemia. It means you become anemic. And I was anemic when I first started dialysis, and I was eating ice like a mug. Now I don't eat it as much because they give me medication through dialysis, which produces it. So anyway, don't want to bore you guys with the details, but we're starting on page 99, right? And we're going to end on page 107. This is a page turner. This chapter is definitely a page turner. And I'm be honest with you, this was a really good one. I'm excited to get into this. This is actually going to be touching on Assata Shakur's young adult life and living in New York City. So this is actually going to be very interesting. So I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I can't wait to read it because this is actually really good. So are you ready? All right. So chapter 6, starting on page 99, we're going to be doing that starting on page 99 of chapter 6. Okay. My mother and stepfather broke up, and my mother, my sister, and I moved to a new apartment in a housing complex in South Jamaica near New York Boulevard and Folk. One side was the projects, and the other side was the co-op where we lived, but they looked about the same to me. Compared to Jamaica, Parson Gardens, where we had lived, was a little black dot. South Jamaica, Hollis, Bricktown, St. Albans, Springfield Gardens, South Ozone, etc. We were all joined together to make up a black city. You could live your whole life in Jamaica, and the only time you see a white face was when you shopped on Jamaica Avenue or when the insurance man came around. At one time, Jamaica was all white. Black people had moved out to the island, Black people had moved out to the island to escape the ghettos of Harlem and Brooklyn. They bought old houses at exorbitant prices, only to find that within a few years, their nice neighborhoods had turned into crime ridden, drug ridden, poverty stricken places they had run from. I love Jamaica. It was just starting to get into the beat. I was just starting to get into the beat of to know my way around when my mother and I had one of our terrible arguments. I don't even remember what the argument was about, but I was hard headed, stubborn, and under the impression that a grave injustice had been done to me. The next day, I got up, packed my clothes, and headed straight for the village. Greenwich Village was where the artists and musicians of all kinds of weird people were supposed to live. I was fascinated by the idea of beatniks and bohemians, even though I had never met any. I figured that if I belong any place, it must be the village. The village people in the Navy. No, just kidding. Let me stop. I walked around with my suitcase until I was exhausted. I remember thinking that the people here didn't look that different from anybody else. I found a place to check my suitcase and spent the rest of the day going around door to door asking people if they had any jobs available. Most didn't even look up at me. They just gave a flat no. At the end of the day, I was tired, disgusted, hungry. I had nowhere to live and not the slightest idea what I was going to do next. I went back for my suitcase, but the place was closed. After that, I just walked aimlessly until I reached a little park. I sat down on a bench, tired as hell and unable to take another step. After a while, a little white guy with bumps on his face sat down next to me and started talking. I didn't understand half the things he said, but he seemed nice though. When he asked me if I wanted to go to a restaurant across the street with him, I gladly accepted. I was starving. It was an Italian restaurant, and the scent in the air was heavenly. Baby, I know. When you go to those Italian restaurants, oh. Anyway, let me keep going. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about Italian food right now. I ordered enough to feed a mule. The guy talked about all these people I didn't know and about his job. He kept saying people in his job were conspiring to get him fired. I worked there for 8 years and they didn't even give me any notice. He told me over and over that the company he had worked for had stolen two of his inventions and patented them, and when he tried to get paid for them to get credit for his ideas, the company tried to get rid of him. What did they do? I asked. They did everything. They stole my files and my papers and then spread rumors about me. He said he was some kind of engineer. I should have never trusted them, he kept saying. You can't trust anybody. When the food came, I ate like I had spent a lifetime starving. Doesn't this food taste funny to you? That guy asked. I tasted some more and it was good. There's nothing wrong with mine, I told him. There's something wrong with this food, he said loudly. What did they do to my food? The waiter came and tried to calm the guy down. I don't understand, the waiter said, but if you like, I'll bring you another plate. Although the guy said it was better, he still thought it tasted a little funny. To change the subject, I told him a sad story about my mother being in the hospital and I had nowhere to stay. Oh, you can stay at my place, he said. Then, seeing how I was looking at him, he added, I have an extra bed. No funny business. No funny business, he promised. He then paid the check and we left. Just stick with the story. It gets interesting. Watch. His apartment was a tiny one-bedroom unit with a dirty kitchen and a green, moldy-looking rug. The living room was neat and sterile. There was a plain brown couch that turned into a bed. I asked him for something to sleep in and plopped down onto the bed. He kept talking, but I closed my eyes and pretended to sleep. After a while, he went into his bedroom and shut off the light. I woke up during the night to go to the bathroom, stumbling around disoriented until I finally found it. When I came out of the bathroom, I went to the kitchen for some water. While I was there, the guy came in. His face was all puffed up and red. "What are you looking for?" "Some water." "Oh no, you're not," he screeched. "You've been creeping around this house and looking for something." "What?" I asked. "You're crazy." "Oh no, my dear. That's what they want me to think. I'm not crazy in the least. What are you looking for? Who sent you? You didn't find anything, did you? Well, you can tell them I haven't found anything else from them for them to steal." "I don't know what you're talking about. No one sent me to any place, and I wasn't looking for anything." "Oh no, you were just going for a little moonlight stroll. Do you think I'm some kind of fool? I took you off the street out of kindness, and here you are trying to deceive me. They really fooled me this time. I never thought they sent a nigger spy." "Your mama's a nigger," I told him. "You're the crazy son of a bitch." I threw my clothes on as I cursed him out. "Spy, spy," he kept saying. "Your mother's a spy, and you can drop dead as far as I'm concerned." I slammed the door and I walked out into the early morning. The sun was beginning to come up. I walked until I found a drugstore open and ordered tea and an English muffin. I bought a toothbrush, toothpaste, and some makeup so that I would look older. I was going to get a job if it killed me. I got my suitcase, found a bathroom to wash up in, changed clothes, checked in the suitcase again. I bought a couple of newspapers. This time, I was going to be systematic about it. I saw an ad for a waitress and counter girl. That was something I knew I could do. The place was downtown Brooklyn. I hopped on the first train in that direction and got there about 8:30 in the morning. The cafeteria was a factory building and solely for the factory workers. The manager had black and white hair and was big, fat, and sloppy. He wasn't so anxious to hire me first. So I told him a sob story about coming down from down south as soon as possible. I'm sorry. I told him about the story about coming down south to help my mother who was in the hospital and I needed a job as soon as possible. Finally, after looking me up and down, he hired me and said I could start right then and there. I was grinning from ear to ear. I was supposed to spend the morning making salads and sandwiches and other things for lunchtime. But around 10 o'clock, all these men started coming in for a coffee break. The manager had me running around like crazy, toasting bread, buttering buns, and getting the men their orders. Move faster, he kept telling me. Every time he told me to move faster, I tried until it seemed it wasn't humanly possible for anyone to move faster. Then I noticed he was always brushing against me. His hands were always accidentally touching my behind. I'd move his hand away, but that only seemed to make him bolder. Every time I bent over to get something out of the freezer or off the food shelves, he would try to slide his hands up my dress. After a while, I began slapping his hands away. This too seemed to make him bolder. Finally, I told him in a nice, quiet voice, "Would you please keep your hands off me? Would you keep them to yourself?" "What are you talking about?" he said, acting surprised. "I ain't do nothing to you." As the day wore on, he accelerated his shouting at me. "Can't you move any faster?" he would yell. "Get that lead out your ass." He stopped putting his hands on me for a while, but in about an hour, he was right back to his old tricks. He acted like there was some kind of joke or something. I didn't think it was funny, worth a damn. Lunchtime was super busy, and I was moving super fast. After lunch, we started getting ready for afternoon coffee break. And after that, we started getting ready for dinner. Dinner was from 4:30 to 6:30, and 7 o'clock was quitting time. When dinner came, I was tired and miserable. I needed the job desperately, but the manager was driving me wild, putting his hands all over me. When I told him to stop, he would grin, throw his hands in the air, and say, What am I doing? What am I doing? Then he started a new trick. He'd pull the elastic of my panties through the uniform and let it pop like a rubber band. Stop it, I yelled. Just stop it. Stop what? What am I doing? Yo, real talk. Ooh. If that dude was doing that over in front of me, mm, 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 mm. Boy, oh boy. This part of the book made me mad. Let's keep going. By the time dinner was over, I couldn't take it anymore. Bad as I needed the job, I couldn't take that big fat pig's hands all over me. Just before I was ready to go home, I told him, look, if you can't keep your hands to yourself, I'll quit. I can't take it anymore. What do you mean you'll quit? You're fired. You got lead in your ass and you don't know how to treat your boss. Now get the hell out of here. Just give me my money and I will. I ain't gonna give you shit, he said, because you ain't did shit. Look, mister, you're gonna pay me my money. I worked hard and I want my money. Come back at the end of the week. No, I want my money now. I need it now. You get nothing now. I told you. Come back at the end of the week. No, you're giving me my money now. I want my money. Well, you ain't getting it. I'll call the cops on you, I bluffed. I'll call the cops on you, he said. If you don't get your ass out of here, you better give me my money, I repeated, looking wild and about ready to jump out a real bag. Some people from the factory came in and stood at the back of the cafeteria looking. Keep your voice down, he said, acting like he was going to be cooperative to pay me. I tell you what, you come in the back with me now, and I'll pay you for an extra day. I even let you keep your job. If you're good, I'll even give you a little extra change. I'm not going any damn where with you. Just give me my money. Now, why do you got to be like that? He asked, putting his hands on my shoulder. I was hot and fit to be tied. Get your hands off of me, I yelled. You don't want nobody to know what kind of a dog you are. Well, I'm going to tell everybody. If you don't give me my money, I'm going to make you wish you had. I'm going to tell everybody what you are. I started to walk where people were working in the factory part. All right, he said. Here's your goddamn money. Just get the hell out of here. People who have been standing in the back moved up closer to see what was going on. That man went to the register and counted out my money. I was dead tired and felt like a fool. But at the same time, I kind of felt good inside. I was still in the same boat, but I was $13 richer and had enough self-respect not to let any old licorice white man fill me up and down my body. I had enough money altogether to rent a cheap hotel room. I got my suitcase and checked into a hotel. I think it was the Hotel Albert. After I had hung up my clothes and taken a shower, I decided to get something to eat. Downstairs in the lobby, there was this big, tall black woman dressed to kill. She had black hair with silver streaks running through it, long false eyelashes, and a lot of makeup. Well, look at this baby, she said, looking straight at me. Please tell me how you wound up in this joint. Are you straight from Alabama, darling? Ooh, excuse me. Where are you going, honey? I just looked at her. Do you speak, darling? Can you talk? Where are you going, honey? I'm going out to eat, I said, a little worried. Where are you going to eat, love? I don't know. Well, come with me, honey. We can eat together. I'm having a starvation attack. I just stood there looking at her. Well, come on, love. You don't want me to die of malnutrition now, do you? You like Chinese food? Yes, I told her, wondering why she was taking all this interest in me, wondering how she knew I was new at the hotel. We walked until we came up to a Chinese restaurant. The whole time she talked nonstop. Suddenly I remember how little money I had. I intended to eat a hot dog or something. Look, I told her, I don't have enough money to go in there. This place looks expensive and I'm kind of on the broke side. Maybe another time I'll come eat with you. Listen, love, she said. I didn't drag you all this way to eat alone. I hate to eat alone, so you're just stuck with my company. It, it looks like I'm going to have to treat your broke ass to dinner. I was extremely grateful. Miss Shirley, that's what she called herself, was one hell of a talker. She sounded sophisticated and country at the same time. She was from Georgia, but she had been in New York for a long time. She had lived in the village for a long time too, although she said she was a gypsy. I ordered something like chop suey, the cheapest thing on the menu. What are you trying to do, honey? She asked. Make me sick? Look at you, sit here with your ears all open and let me do all the ordering. She ordered all this stuff. When it came, we feasted. There was so much that we could barely finish it. That's better, honey. Now mother can join the living. The waiter came and asked if we wanted anything else. If I can't have you, Miss Shirley said with a wink, I like the check. Oh man, Miss Shirley got some spice, boy. Woo! The waiter, a tall, thin Chinese man, blushed and hurried away. This was one bold chick, I remember thinking. How long is your place rented for? Miss Shirley asked. Until tomorrow. What are you going to do after that? I'll find another job, I told her. Then I told her about my job at the cafeteria. She laughed her head off. Well, honey, she asked me, what in the hell are you running from, or what in the hell are you running to? I asked her, I told her a sad tale about my mother in the hospital. Do you actually expect me to believe that mess? I swore up and down that was true. I ain't no fool, honey. I've been out in these streets long enough to know that you are running from something, and if you don't want to tell me, that's your business. But I like you. I'll try to help you if I can. I was grateful, and I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. Look, I got this friend that works on Bleecker Street. He wants to take some time off to hang out with his friend, but he doesn't want to lose his job. You can work in his place until he comes back. Fine, I said. I'm down for anything. Well, almost. We went to the cafe, and a skinny white dude came up to us. Sit down and rest yourselves. I'll be back in a minute. We sat down at a little round table. You want some espresso? The guy asked. Sure, Miss Shirley said. He bought 2 little cups of black stuff. I took one sip, and I thought I was going to choke. Miss Shirley cracked up. Well, I can see that you're not initiated. I'm going to have to do something about your education. I arranged to take this guy's job for 4 days, and he showed me what I had to do. If you forget anything or have any questions, ask the sailor, he said, pointing to the man with tattoos up and down his arms. I was to begin work the next afternoon at 4. I still didn't know how I was going to pay my rent at the hotel for the next few days because I wouldn't be paid for my work at the cafe until the guy came back from his vacation. I told Miss Shirley what I was thinking. I'll talk to Freddie, she said, and if he'll let my good friend have a little credit. If not, he'll come up to my place and sleep on the floor. We went back to the hotel and found Freddie. He didn't want to give me any credit. Miss Shirley kept haggling. How much money do you have? She asked me. $15. Well, give me 10 and I'll lend you the rest so you can rent a room for a week. I gave her the money and Freddie told me that I had to move into another room, which was fine with me. The room was tiny, but at least it had a bathroom and I had somewhere to stay for the rest of the week. I was grateful as hell for Miss Shirley. Well, she told me, you get a good night's sleep. Mother has to go to work. Where do you work? Anywhere I have to, she said. Anywhere I can. I was dog tired and the bed looked like an oasis. I woke up the next afternoon. It was almost 1 o'clock. I took a shower, got dressed, went to find something to eat. Then I went back to the hotel knocked on Miss Shirley's door. She opened the door with a razor in her hand. I almost fainted. She was shaving her face. Miss Shirley was a man. When she saw my reaction, she fell out laughing. You gotta learn, sugar. You got a lot to learn. We both sat there laughing up a storm. Somehow, it was funny as hell. Miss Shirley was part of the Rainbow Crew, right? All right. I went to work early that afternoon. The job wasn't bad, and I could eat all I wanted, which meant I didn't have to buy dinner. The tips weren't that much, but I'd be able to live on them until the guy came back. Any black woman, particularly anyone in America, can tell you about being approached, propositioned, and harassed by white men. Many consider all black women potential prostitutes. In the village, this phenomenon was 10 times worse than elsewhere. It was almost impossible to go from one corner to the next without some white man hissing at you, following you, or jingling the money in his pockets. One morning in the park, I met a couple about my age from Harlem who had run away from home and were now living in a room in the village. I told them that I had run away too, and we became instant comrades. We got into discussion about how white men are always approaching black women. Yeah, they giggled. But we just got something for their ass. Yeah, I asked. Yeah, we fixed them right up. How? I asked. Then they told me. The Murphy game was their game. They told me how it worked, and I fell out laughing. I thought it was a brilliant scheme. You want to try it? I told them I know them always. Ugh, I can't talk today. I know them always dig you. I was anxious to try this new scheme because it was big money, and I would be able to pay Miss Shirley back and get a real place of my own. The first night after my job was over, I met Pat and Ronnie in the park. Pat and I set the bait, and Ronnie was the protection. We were all we were all to walk separately on different sides of the street so that we could see each other. I had dressed up and put on a makeup to look older. About 5 minutes after we started walking, a white man came up to me. He said he liked the way I walked and wanted to take me someplace. I'm on my way to a party, I asked him. It's going to be a real hot party. Yeah, what kind of party is it going to be? What kind of party would you like it to be? A party for two? He asked. He said, I know, I know a place where they got some really nice private rooms, and they're not too expensive. It's a private club. You got to join first. How much does it cost? 15 for the room, 15 to join the club, and 15 for the babysitter. You don't look old enough to have a kid. The babysitter's for my little sister. We argued about the price. He thought it was too high. I kept telling him how he was getting a deal, and that once he joined, he will be a member for a year and can go there anytime he wanted to get some action. Finally, he agreed to pay. When we got to the building, I told him to give me the money so I could go upstairs to pay the people. By the way, I said, would you tell me what kind of work you do? These people are very particular about who joins the club. I work for a bank. I could see from his face that he was lying. I'll be right back. Don't you go nowhere. I ran up the stairs, opened the door to the roof. Carefully, I closed it behind me. Then I went over about 10 roofs until I came onto the one I was supposed to come down from. I tried the door. It wouldn't budge. Somebody had locked it. I went to the next roof. Luckily, the door opened. I ran down the stairs, came out around the corner from where the man was standing. Hurriedly, I walked to where I was supposed to meet Pat and Ronnie. How'd it go? They asked. Easy as pie, I answered. Okay, let's do another one. I was scared to try another one because I was scared I would run into that man again. We can go up around 14th Street. We got another building staked out around there. Okay, I told him. But let's check it out first. I explained about the door that wouldn't open. We got to the new place, checked it out, and went to 14th Street. In a matter of 20 minutes, Pat and I had each caught a fish. I was worried to death we would bump into each other. I rushed my man to the building, got the money, hurried to the meeting place. Wait, I waited and waited. It seemed like an eternity until they came. Pat had seen me with my man and had the good sense to go to a different building than the one I took the man to. We were all in high spirits. See how easy it is? Pat asked me. Yeah, it's a breeze. We split up the money. We had each made $45. I rushed back to the hotel. Miss Shirley was there. We went up to her room for a drink. I felt like a millionaire. I had the money I had made from working the cafe plus $45. I whipped out my bankroll and paid Miss Shirley back. Now, girl, I know you ain't got no rich uncle. How'd you get all that money? I told her everything. I thought I was so slick. Girl, is you crazy? Do you know what one of these men will do if they find you in the street? Girl, these people out here in this street don't give a damn about you. This street will eat your ass alive. Honey, I know what I'm talking about. You don't run away, ain't you? You done run away, ain't you? Well, sorry. I used to that type of speaking. Yeah, I told her. I ran away. I knew it all the time. Well, honey, if I can't make you go home, if I tried, you only run away again. But you're wasting your time and your life out there. These people don't care nothing about you. All they wanted to do is suck your blood. You're a smart girl. What you need to do is go home and finish school. I'm never going home. Well, if you insist on staying out here in these streets, you better start acting like you got some sense. Don't you never let nobody use you and make a fool out of you. What if one of those men had been crazy and followed you upstairs? What if the other door had been locked and you hadn't been able to get out? Where was your so-called protection? You mean to tell me that you're going to risk your life for $15? Girl, this village ain't nothing to play around with. They got some crazy men out here, and that is killing up young girls like you. And one of them, I don't even know if I can read this and say this on the street. They got some crazy men out here that's killing up young girls like you, and one of them cuts their titties off. Girl, as far as I can see, that young boy Ronnie don't want to be nothing but a pimp. He ain't done nothing to earn that money. You better start to use your head. I could see Miss Shirley knew what she was talking about. But what am I going to do, Miss Shirley? You know how hard it is to find a job? Don't worry, honey. I'll come up with something. The next day, I went down to the lobby. Freddie was behind the desk. I hear you're looking for a job. He said, uh-huh. You know that? Wait, I read past where I was supposed to go. I was supposed to stop over a page ago. Oh, man, let me finish this. Okay. You know nothing about being a barmaid? No, I told him. Well, you go over to this place, Tony's, on 3rd Street, and ask for a guy named Chuck. Tell him I sent you. Thanks a lot. I went over to Tony's and talked to Chuck. Do you have any openings? I asked him. Sure, we always have opening for foxes like you, he laughed. Do you know the setup? No. $15 a night, and you get $0.25 for each drink and $1 for each bottle of champagne. I looked at him blankly. Your job is to sit and look pretty and keep the customers happy and buying. You work from 8 in the evening till 4 in the morning when the place closes. What you do after that is your business. Just don't make any deals on the premises. Yes, I answered warily. Well then, see you tonight. I'm going to stop there. But I read past what I was supposed to. I told you, this is a page turner, man. This chapter is good. Man, I tell you, wow, man. So that was interesting, man. Like how she started off where she left home and she was living in basically in the thick of New York City. And then first, you have this guy who was seemed chill. He was just talkative, got her dinner and let her sleep in his living room. Next thing you know, he's thinking that she's some person that's trying to commit a conspiracy against him. So he has some issues, you know. And then on top of it, she's working with this guy, and then he keeps basically, sexually assaulting her and harassing her on the job. And that was wild, man. And it just goes to show how women especially are constantly dealing with this a lot more than even we think. So guys, you dudes out there, you know um, when women talk about things like this, listen to them because they go through a lot of this stuff. And then after meeting Miss Shirley, but the funny thing is I already kind of had a feeling before I read that part. I was just like, man, Miss Shirley's part of the Rainbow Crew. She is. I kind of had that feeling, and she was very like motherly and looking out for her Asada, which was really cool, you know. And a lot of times, we all need somebody like, Shirley. Um, Yepex, who is also a JB member, says Shirley sounds like a riot, a great person to chill out with. Yeah, yeah, Miss Shirley sounds like, somebody who, you can sit and have some coffee with and just chit chat, and she'll make you laugh. That's one thing I actually liked about her. I can't wait to read the rest because to you guys because Miss Shirley's pretty based. No, this is Tupac Shakur's godmother. Um, she was friends with Afeni Shakur, who is Afeni Shakur is Tupac's mother. So Assata Shakur, or is Tupac's aunt? I can't remember, but it's like an aunt slash godmother. But yeah, that's Assata Shakur. She knew Tupac. So, thanks a lot, JetX. Yeah, I didn't get to take a look at it. I did see it in the email, but I didn't get to read it yet. But thank you so very much. Appreciate it. I'll make sure to get I'll make sure to get to that. And no, no, the books that I finished these two. I finished Blood in My Eye and Dirty Shoes by Michael Parenti. I finished these two. I haven't finished Asada yet. I'm damn near in the middle of Asada Shakur's book right now. So yeah. Oh hey, thank you, Zoe. It says thank you, JB. I love catching these live. Yeah, I don't do um readings live typically. I do it once in a great while. Um, I've done it for Blood in My Eye by George Jackson. I've done it for Dirty Truths, and now I'm doing it for Asad Shakur's book. So I do a live once in a while, and this is also to help get people um, kind of interested in my readings. For some reason, my reading was like subpar tonight. It wasn't as good as it should have been, but um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a way the speech pattern is, and I'm not used to that. So I tried, but thank you so much. Wabakoin says that was pretty nice. Different from all the heavy theory that I've been reading for the last 2 years. Kant is fine and all, but not very thrilling. Yeah. The thing is that sometimes you need something that's a little bit lighter. That still talks about, the subjects that we want to, but at the same time, you know, sometimes we need a break. So that's one thing I want to do. Sean Miller says theory can make your brain hurt. Yeah, I'm still trying to get into that. And so I wanted to get into Assata Shakur's book. I'm trying to balance it out by reading, from a woman, and then reading from, because there's a lot of, male authors who written, all types of books on theory and things like that. But I want to balance it out, you know, give my respect to all my, sisters in the past who have, you know, went through it. So yeah, that's why. But I don't want to go any longer because I want to make sure this is definitely under an hour. But thank you so very much to everybody who was watching live for this reading. And look, I will be getting into part 2 of Asada Shakur. I'll try to do it in the next couple days. Also, I will be talking to the producer and director of Right Brain Studios, and I'll be talking to him on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about his evolution and then how he got into being a documentary director. Remember, he was also the same documentary director who directed Rome's documentary Death to America. So I'm going to be talking to him this Tuesday at 2 p.m. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. Also, this Sunday on RBN on the JB show, I'll be with Zoya, and we're going to be talking about war crimes. So that's going to be an interesting subject to go into as well. And that's also going to be the same day where a lot of people are going to be at the anti-war rally in Washington, D.C. And I know Sabi's going to be doing some live streaming from there. So you guys may want to check that out. Also, I think CJ was live earlier. So if you guys have not caught that, catch that on RBN. And yeah, so thank you so very much to everybody. Thanks to all the patrons on Patreon as well as Coffee. Without you guys, I would not be able to have this channel. Thank you to all the members. You guys also are a major help. So thank you so very much. And look, like I always say, reading is fundamental. Water your plants, water yourselves. Mwah, forehead kisses. See, I give it to you a little early. Leave the world better than you found it. Smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. If you don't got them, then watch something funny. Laugh. Have joy, because joy is revolutionary. And reading is fundamental. Butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high.